Welcome again to the Road to Deadpool and Wolverine. We are on the last movie installment of the Fox X-Men properties, which is Deadpool 2. Before I bring Kai, Will, and La on the line here, I just want to go ahead and go through our normally scheduled promotions. Just bear with me. First of all, I want to remind you all to please sure to check out our website, nerdinitiative.com. You can follow the QR code there. That will take you to any of the recent movie reviews, comic reviews, especially being that it's Wednesday. You'll want to check out new comic book day reviews every week, every Wednesday, and see the amazing stuff that's come out by our bullpen team. Also, be sure to check out our Nerd Initiative merchandise store. I told you this stuff was going to be coming out. There are some new merch items in the store. I was actually able to get them to show up this time. And be sure to check them out. We've got some Nerd Initiative Dungeons and Dragons D20 type stuff with our TTRPG logo, and I'm happy to see that. I kind of like it. I hope that you guys do too. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications here on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitter, Facebook, wherever you may be seeing us, please be sure to check us out there. But also remember, you can go to our Nerd Initiative website and see what is happening, because our streams go live right to the website. And then finally, tomorrow, be sure to check out Wrestling Night Live. They are on at 8 o'clock every Thursday night. They'll give you the latest news and information about professional wrestling from the different types of groups. So be sure to check them out. And then one last thing, Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Check out Turner Page as they talk about comics from the bullpen. And be sure to see that there. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get our people back on. Will decided to leave. I don't know why, but hopefully he'll be back. But we've got Kai and La. Welcome back, guys.
I'm so excited. I'm back for a second week. A second week. You didn't fire me. I didn't get fired.
I'm just gonna say this. I'm absolutely thrilled that you wanted to come on.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. If you guys don't know Kai, go follow The Vibe with Kai anywhere you see him on social media. He is great. He does a great job at talking about, basically mental health awareness and, his ADHD and all that kind of stuff. And I'll be honest with you, knowing you for the last couple of years, watching your videos, one of the funniest things is I was nervous asking you to do this because I almost was afraid that you'd be introverted to the point of
oh no.
but you're not leaving the house, so we're safe.
Yeah, and it's something that I enjoy talking about. So when an introvert is in an area that they're very comfortable with, they don't shut up. So
absolutely. And Will is back with us, and back from Disney. Absolutely jealous that he got to spend time at Avengers Campus, but that wasn't even his focus. He was more excited about going to Galaxy's Edge and everything else, and doing his your character meet and greets. Welcome back, Will.
Let me tell you something. There is no greater kitchen on this green ball that we roll on, other than Goofy's Kitchen. There's no greater kitchen. If you go to Goofy's Kitchen, you are in for a great experience. Let me just put it that way.
Is it the food or is it the fellowship?
It's a fellowship, my friend.
Okay. And also just a huge shout out to those of you who are in the chat, already chatting up. Z, Miranda, of course, my wife. And I see Jenny there. Welcome. Thank you guys. And for those of you who may be watching after the fact, we love you guys and really appreciate you. I'm super excited because I didn't know how these number of weeks were going to turn out. We're on the last week of actually reviewing a Fox Marvel property. We could jump into the New Mutants if we were really wanting to hate ourselves, but we're not going to do that. But this is done really well. Analytic wise, it's been great to see the number of people that have been watching with us, as well as those who watch after the fact. I don't know if you guys know this, when you stream a show live, you have a number of followers who are watching live, and then as soon as you end that live, those numbers don't count to your analytics on YouTube. And so you have to immediately build back up people watching after the fact. So I'm impressed that people want to watch us while we're live doing this. And then there are people that will go back and watch us again, because I can't look at this face after, I have to look at it while I'm on the prompter. So
get out of here.
Oh, please.
I totally had to rewatch. I totally had to watch last week since I wasn't here.
Oh yeah. We went a little bit on a rabbit trail, but I think it was good. especially with, and let's go ahead and get some things out of the way before we actually talk about Deadpool 2. I don't know if you guys noticed this, and those of you who are viewing, there's some news and rumors going on right now with Marvel Studios as a whole, that the Russo brothers are in talks to come back to direct the next two Avengers films. I hope that this allows for Dustin Daniel Cretton to just focus on Shang-Chi, because he was phenomenal with that one. And it also sounds like Jeffrey Waldron is out as writer, which if you've watched me talk about Marvel at all, I'm happy about that too. So it's, I'm sorry, Law. Oh, she just dropped off. Okay. But I thought she got offended. That's what we usually do in the Real Study.
Yeah, man.
Whenever we're on the Real Study, if you get offended, you just turn your camera off.
I think that because I believe Comic-Con is next week, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, and Marvel did say that they're going to be announcing some stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm really, really excited for that. Next week is going to be a big week for Marvel. It's going to be a big week, and I'm excited.
I am too. The only other bigger news that I'm hoping we get out of San Diego Comic-Con is that they're also bringing back Marcus and McFeely for writing.
Oh yeah,
in regards to this, because right now, you guys know the way it's been going. Basically, it rolled like this. Hello, Russo brothers. Yeah, this is Kevin Feige. Look out your door. That giant truck of money is backing up right now. Please come back.
Yeah, they're paying them just to try to think about coming back. I think that would be the way to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's exciting. It's sad to think that it takes a specific type of group of people, but I feel like Kevin Feige is great at focusing on the comic booky aspect of the movies. I feel like they need to give a place for Agbo, or at least the Russo brothers, to have like a creative directorial like position to like direct things. Not so much that they do their own movies, but also give them like some control to say, let's help them build the tone for any of the directors that come in, so that they kind of get them onboarded. And then Marcus and McFeely should be the same way for writing. Like they should have final, not because like they're perfect and they're end all. People are fallible, but they have a track record of producing good content, and they're the reason why the first three phases were the the golden age of good storytelling and connective storytelling. So
what I wouldn't be surprised to see happen is like, say they do sign on to direct these next Avengers movies. Part of that deal, in addition to the money side of it, is going to be, hey, listen, come back, we'll give you money. Also, any idea that you have, no matter how surreal, no matter how crazy it is, we will give you $100 million and you can do it. Just please come back and direct these Avengers movies, please.
Well, it's like for James Gunn when he was with the Guardians of the Galaxy, when they went to do Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame, they consulted him. Like if you go back and watch because I'm a nerd, you go back and watch the directorial commentary for Infinity War. There's a round table with with all of the directors, Taika Waititi, all of them, like talking about Black Panther, talking about Ragnarok, talking about all of these things, and they all like sit around and just like praise James Gunn, which is really sad because this is coming out right after the whole firing and stuff because of old tweets. And he was the consultant not only for the Guardians, because he knew those characters, but it was also the whole space aspect, because like James Gunn is a nerd, he's a comic book fan. I have and this is the thing, I have complete faith in what's going on with DC Studios, not because of Safran, but because of Gunn. And you can tell by the things that he tweets out, it's a labor of love for him. And so I feel that was the same way with like with the Russo brothers, because they always liked engaging online with people confirming or denying stuff or like teasing things. And it's something that we haven't had lately. Like there's not really a relationship with the directors like it could be. So all right, so we have also got some interesting stuff that's been coming out. I showed this to Kai beforehand. Lai is coming back. We are good. Hey, Lai, welcome back. And so a couple things that have happened in promotional, because we were talking about before everybody joined. Kai and I were talking about how the marketing for Deadpool was great. Deadpool 2 was phenomenal, because if you don't remember, like they did a lot of the promotional stuff for the movie. 007 came out, and so of course they had the whole like 007 style opening for Deadpool 2. And of course you had Celine Dion with Ashes, which that music video I think in itself brought
It's
butts to the
amazing.
seats.
Mhm.
Yeah. This with Deadpool and Wolverine, we've had a couple things. As you guys already know, we've had the Wolverine popcorn bucket, which was designed by Deadpool. We have gotten as of today the Deadpool and Wolverine van jams, which I want to say right now, there's a lot of great songs on this playlist, but the fact that the Greatest Show from The Greatest Showman is one of them, I know there's a joke in there, and I can't wait to see it. Which just shows how they are. Heinz Ketchup is doing Deadpool and Wolverine collectors bottles, which I'm
Love
gonna
it.
have since I've got Jujutsu Kaisen and Loki McDonald's sauces in my refrigerator still. But I want to prepare you guys, pun intended. This one's a bit cheeky. Xbox has a promotional
is real.
sweepstakes that's going on right now, and if you participate, you repost their thing with the Xbox Deadpool sweepstakes hashtag, you could be the owner of this.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I've never wanted to hold the controller more in my
I'm
life.
a PlayStation person, but I'm about to buy an Xbox for this.
Do you remember there was a whole time,
Yeah.
like there's a whole span of
No.
time where people were talking about, like men were talking about like their infatuation with Ryan Reynolds. I even did a video for it. Like I could see guys just buying this and be like, yeah, that's me. That's who I am right now. But if you want to be a part of this sweepstakes, I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there right now. That is the QR code to the Twitter feed for Xbox. You have to follow, repost, and use the hashtag on there. And it's not just the controller, it's also a Deadpool themed Xbox Series X, which it looks like the chest, and it's got like the katanas out the back. So definitely cool. Just like one of those things. There were so many like collectors Xbox things that have come out in the last couple of years. I remember there was a Sonic the Hedgehog one that was completely furry. Like I feel like I've missed out. I wish that we could get these things, but you do your chance. Oh, people are scanning the code. Let me put it back up there for you guys. But yeah, be sure to check that out and absolutely have fun with it. Anything else anybody wants to say before we get into Deadpool 2?
No, bring it on.
It's going to be a big week next week. It's going to be a big week.
I'm a little hurt that I didn't get like a little intro like everybody else did a little bit. Like you kind of talked to Kai and then you kind of talked to Will and you didn't talk to me, but it's okay.
Wow.
Okay. Well, you kept going in and out. I'm sorry about that,
Such
Law.
a bad look, man.
So before we get started,
canceled.
Law, first of all, how was BlurredCon?
That's
Let me
what
just
I
go ahead
was
and
gonna
jump into it.
BlurredCon was great. For anybody that doesn't know, BlurredCon is a comic or comic cosplay convention in Virginia. It was amazing. Like I had a good time. I actually dressed up as like my version of Lady Deadpool, so that was pretty cool. And I recreated the opening to the first Deadpool. It's actually on my Instagram, Black Girl Marvel, if you want to go see it. But it was a fun time. It was like the costumes were like nuts. This couple was dressed up as Ember and Wade from the Pixar movie with the fire and the water. I can't remember. Elemental. Yeah, Elemental. They were, full face covered in full outfit, and like I was sweating like a stuck pig. So like I was very proud of them for like that whole thing. It was pretty cool. I saw some Wolverines around there and stuff like that. It was a nice time. So yeah, I enjoyed myself. I
think it's really cool because like people don't realize like growing up as Black people, we didn't have stuff like this at all.
At all.
Like, and nope. It's so validating to see online and at conferences and at these cons and stuff like that, that there are other people like me out there
for sure.
that love comic books, that love nerdy type of games and stuff, just like I do. Because growing up, I didn't have that at all.
No, it's great to like look around. And here's the thing, BlurCon is black nerd, but there are like people of all races there. You know what I mean? So like that's not to like deter anybody that wants to go, but it is like essentially like a black space created by black people for black people. But again, there's no discrimination there, so it's not like you're gonna like if you're a white person or Indian person,
Get
any
out
person,
of
other,
here.
right? It's none of that. It's none of that. But it did start off as a place for like where black people could come in and have like a safe space to like talk and have a conversation. And on that, the Thursday before like the weekend, I guess, where everything hops off, I had a panel. I had a panel talking about BIPOC representation in television and film. So, you know, like they give space to, you know, a lot of different things. Like, of course, there's like twerking class and stuff like that, and twerking you got to have your fun panels as well. You know what I mean? There's like hentai panels and things like that. Like there's a wide range of like things to do and partake in. There's like games and arcades and stuff like that. Like there's PlayStation 5s and Nintendos and Xboxes and all around people to play and partake. Phil Lamar was there. Cleo Thomas was there, you know, so like it was a fun time. It was a fun time. Karen Ashley.
Yeah.
Oh, Walter Jones was there. Walter E. Jones, you know, like the first Black Power Ranger. He was there dancing with everybody, having a good time. So it was pretty cool. It's pretty
That's
cool.
awesome. You know, one of the things I like to lurk around like with Dragon Con and like all the different conventions I haven't been able to go to yet. And one of the things that I've always noticed about when I looked at stuff from BlurredCon is the fact that there is more cosplay at BlurredCon than I sometimes see at other like mainstream conventions. Like you expect people to dress up, New York Comic Con, whatever else, but it's almost like per capita the crowd is more comfortable. It is more welcoming to different types of cosplay, and it's been one of those things where it's always been interesting. And I know like you know nerd alum Nico Skywalker, he does an Obi-Wan Kenobi outfit, and he's gotten a lot of crap online.
He has, people have been like
being a black man, and
right,
Obi-Wan
they're like
Kenobi.
Obi-Wan isn't black, and it's like we know that, but you could still be Obi-Wan if you want to.
Yep, and he just did a Master Roshi for Dragon Ball and stuff, and but it's so great that there's a place like that, and you know it reminds me we met Jade Rogers when we went to Los Angeles last year, and you know she does like a steampunk tea party, and it's for BIPOC representation for in Nebraska, and seeing how it's welcoming to everyone. I think that's the thing, like. Everything needs to be that welcoming. Unfortunately, it's not, and it needs to be. So
yeah.
But
I want to be petty, and I want to be like a petty. I want to be like a petty black person, but I just can't inside my bones because I want to be like, well, usually when we create these spaces, it'll be nice if it could just be us. You know what I mean? But like. There, because like we don't have places where it's just us, right? We always have to be inclusive, we always have to be opening, but nobody has to be opening to us or, you know, allow that same like, you know, spirit of like come on in, like it's fine type of thing. But again, like we're just not like that as a people. Not saying we all aren't, because there are some people, but for the most part, like the majority of us, like we're like, if we doing it, let's bring people in and have a good time. It doesn't matter. I just wish everybody kind of thought like that, so that like all spaces could be everybody's space in a sense, and everybody can have fun, because there's a lot of joy in like mixing it up and seeing what other people do and seeing what other people have to say without there being like any too much tension or, you know, hate or anything like that. So, and I think BlurredCon is a good time. So like all you guys should try to go at least once in your life, I would say.
I live close enough. I've been tempted to just like
I will say this,
like, filming for it.
It is an adult situation. Now there are kids there. There were people pushing their kids in strollers. Okay, they wasn't missing this event, but I will say that it is a grown space, and there's a lot of cosplay. There's a lot of skin. There's a lot of things that maybe you might not want your child to be around, or maybe you don't want yourself to be around. That's however you want to slice it. I just want to remind everybody that it is an adult space, and if you choose to bring your child to that adult space, you cannot govern what is going on in those spaces. So
yeah, so basically,
Parental
parent your
guidance
children.
is suggested.
No, for sure, parent your children. But but they had like a teen. They had like a teen panel. They had like things like that. So like it's open, but once it gets a little darker, you might want to go back to the hotel. Okay, that's all I'm saying. That's all I was like.
But by the way, I love and I'm sorry, I wasn't laughing or grinning during your comment about inclusion, but it just struck me that we were talking about being inclusive, yet because of the accidental arrangement, things are very divided on the screen. You know, I mean,
I'm sitting here thinking the same thing.
It's just like, oh no,
You
we're
know the great
inclusive.
thing, but you know what the great thing about this system is? I can do this.
There you go. Thank you. My goodness.
Now I can do the live stream, because I wasn't going to say anything else until that change was made.
I don't blame you.
Now I'm good.
It was almost looking as uncomfortable as the table scene in Charlie Brown's Thanksgiving, when it's everybody on one side and Franklin on the other.
By design, it was working out great because Will was the last one to join, and he was up there, and then Lyle hopped out, and I was like, okay, that's the thing. And how do I do it without making it look like I'm forcing it? But thank you for just having that conversation.
Force it, man. You force it. All right. Change won't happen unless you force it. Good change. I mean, you can't force that bad, but good change. Good change.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
So, Deadpool 2.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and just segue right into it. Last movie that we're talking about, we're not going to mention New Mutant. Now, listen, if you like New Mutants, that's great. I'm not a big fan of it. It's not that it's a bad movie. There were so many production delays, and the film kind of got rewritten so many times.
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like the original intent was just never met, and basically they were just pulling off of the popularity of some of the characters from other things like Stranger Things. But
hilarious.
regardless, we're not going to talk about that.
It's a film for those that don't know the comics. That's all it is. If you don't know the comics, you might enjoy it more.
It is a film.
Come on, they made it. It got made.
Yeah.
It's hard to make a film.
It only got delayed. It only got beat out for the most delays by Morbius. So that tells you a lot.
Which is also a film.
They got made.
Yeah,
is it though? Is it really a film?
Let's not get into Morbius.
Do you remember? I think it's funny. Everyone's like, "Well, why was it so popular on Netflix when it came out?" Do you not remember what Netflix was when it was mainly discs and they had their streaming service? Like, all of the streaming stuff that was on Netflix was crap.
Was D-list. It was D-list
like
movies.
Robot Overlords. If you guys remember Robot Overlords with like Ben Kingsley, like it was some crap stuff. I'm just saying.
No, facts. It was.
But yeah, so it was perfect for Netflix at the time. I'm like, okay, that's great. But Deadpool 2 is the movie that basically greenlit for Ryan Reynolds, I think, a lot. I think they were trying with Deadpool 1. Like they earned their place to have a movie. They weren't going to have the movie. They leaked the footage. They got the movie. It was so wildly successful that they turn around. They're like, okay, do what you want. And of course, we get another Josh Brolin appearance in a Marvel film as a protagonist. We've got, where we had like references of like the helicarrier in the first film. We have full on Marvel Cinematic Universe like references in the second film. We've got DCEU references. They just had fun. So, let's start off with you since you feel like you got the short deal on the introductions. Let's go ahead and give you the floor to give your thoughts.
Surrounded by greatness, and it's all Deadpool. Just want to let you guys see the shirt. So,
yeah, product placements are really important,
isn't it? It's crazy.
I feel so ill prepared.
No, your background's great. I always love your background. But I love Deadpool too. I love both of the Deadpools. I felt like this was a great follow-up because it took everything the first one had and just like etched it up a notch. And not so much that I felt like where else can they go or what else can they do? Like it pushed it up just enough so like the jokes got funnier, the meta-ness of it got heavier, you know what I mean? And then not just with like his character, but now with like every other other characters now. Like Russell, pulls into like that, like the whole like when he was pulling himself away with the the thing, like that's just hilarious. And like it's he added more characters to add Cable, to add the Juggernaut and the Juggernaut to scale on top of that too. And And he did do low hanging fruit. Like he didn't do a whole like, oh, the Juggernaut, bitch, like that whole little jokey thing, which that was fine in X3 because at that time it was like heightened. I felt like if they would have did that in Deadpool 2, it would have been trash. But like I felt like Ryan Reynolds' character was more seated in this. Not to say that he wasn't in the first one, but this was, it felt way easier for him to kind of like be Deadpool in this one. You brought back Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Colossus, like you brought back some great characters. Though Pender is like one of my favorite characters ever created in a universe because he's literally us, but like crazy because he wants to like taste blood. And when he called him Brown Panther, it was the funniest thing across the world. But like I love Deadpool too. I love Domino. Again, controversy of making Domino a black woman, which I mean, I don't see the issue in that when her race doesn't really matter when it comes to
Beast was amazing.
You know, it's her race, like she was great. I love her. Like the whole look, her whole aesthetic, the fact that they make fun of the fact that she's lucky, which a lot of people don't believe that luck can be like a skill, and they pull it off so masterfully in this one. You know, it makes me want to see more from her. I hope she's in Deadpool 3. I know she's not, but like it'd be dope if she was. I would have loved to see her character kind of like travel with Deadpool. I felt like Zazie and Ryan's like humor like very bounced off each other very, very well. It was like fun. Ryan Reynolds did voice the Juggernaut, so that's even great. I don't know. This movie was just a great follow-up. There's not a lot of sequels that can follow the first when the first is really good. I mean, except for Shrek 2, but like there's not like a lot of sequels that can like, you know, make you feel like the first one was just as good as the second one, or the second one is just as good as the first one. Like to me, they kind of like, I can't watch one without the other. Like I can't just be like, I'm gonna watch Deadpool 2. I have to watch the first one and then I have to watch the second one, because to me they just feel like a very rounded, like really, really thought out, well-rounded like continuation of films. It felt like Kill Bill 1 and 2. Like I felt like they could have been one movie for me. Deadpool 1 and 2 could have been one movie for me, you know. So yeah.
Okay. Who wants to go next?
I'll go. Okay. This is going to be controversial.
I love it.
And I apologize in advance.
Uh-oh.
I thought Deadpool 2 was fine.
I respect that.
I thought it was fine. It in regards to what you were just talking about, with it being a quality sequel, I do agree with that. I mean, I'll always be partial to Terminator 2 when it comes to like excellent sequels. But I walked out of that movie and I was like, okay. I didn't hate it. I thought it was well done. I enjoyed the characters. Like I didn't think it sucked by any means. I did enjoy it. I just wasn't wowed by it. I think because I was expecting to laugh, I guess I had like this expectation of like, I guess my expectation was a little higher than the first one, and I thought that's Ryan Reynolds in general, and this may not be a movie problem, this might be a Ryan Reynolds problem, was a little repetitive for me. But I think the movie's good, but it didn't wow me.
Okay.
That's fair.
I'll see myself out. Thank you so much for having me.
Have a good one, Kai. Thanks for joining us.
And you're gone. Will, thoughts?
Honestly speaking, when it came to, and I hate to rewind a little bit here, but when it came to Deadpool 1, I thought it was very well done. But there was a certain something where I felt that the story really didn't have a lot of substance. Whereas this one definitely, Deadpool 2 did, because it didn't have to do anything in regards to backstory. It just had to bring us into it. I loved the number of callbacks that were in it, including in the beginning when he goes back and he lifts the floor the panel in the floor, and there is the cure for blindness
next to the cocaine. Yeah,
just like you said, it was there. And I enjoyed a lot of elements. I do feel that the movie, in a way, kind of tried a little too hard in some respects, and there were some things that I thought, like, I understand the character is hurting in this movie because of fridging Vanessa in the beginning, which I had a problem with. And I like that Once Upon a Deadpool addressed that. But I had a problem with that. And then, the whole metaphysical visiting her when he has his death moments was a little bit much for me. But when it came down to it, it was still an enjoyable movie. I just didn't also like in the prison scene, even though sorry, I went off on a tangent there. Even though the character was hurting, I did not like the way that that Wade was so cold to Russell in the prison. It just seemed out of character compared to the way he treats everyone else. Just flat out saying, "I'm not your friend." It just I didn't enjoy that. I understand it was a stepping stone writing wise to get us to Russell partnering with Juggernaut to get us to the end. I just didn't care for it. All that set aside, I still walked away very happy after seeing this movie. I enjoyed a lot of what I saw. And if they hadn't had the time manipulator being fixed and him going about horsing around, I might have had a different opinion. But him going back and fixing things and doing what he did was a nice little addendum to the movie that I really enjoyed. So, Deadpool 2, great. In many ways, I think it was an improvement on Deadpool 1. It had some elements that I felt were detractors, but overall a good experience.
Yeah. So
wait, Tony,
now that I've heard Will, go ahead.
Before you go, can I just say one thing to what Will said? I just want to say one thing. The only reason I kind of don't mind, and this is not to I don't say anything to change people's minds because that's not what I'm here for. But I'm just saying the reason I think that he's so mad to Russell, he's so mean to Russell, is because he knows he's going to die, and this kid has formed an attachment to him. And I think he's trying to push him away so that this kid doesn't latch on and he dies. Then he really has nobody. That's why he's go find somebody else to talk to. Go find somebody else to be friends with him, because essentially with that collar on, he's dying and he can't be there for Russell. And I think that's why he's overly mean to him. And it's not until the collar is off that he's no longer mean to him, because it's I'm going to live now. I got to save this kid. But that's the way I looked at it, because I still feel like he's not as harsh as he could be, because I feel like he messes with that kid the same way that he kind of messes with Weasel or Blind Al, in a sense where just being kind of rude and sarcastic, and it's because he's not a hero, so he's going to be a bit of a dick. But I think that's why he did it, because he knew he was dying. So, but I just that's all I wanted to say.
Fair enough. And I do also just want to interject one last thing, that I thought it was an excellent on-screen representation of Domino and Domino's powers. You know what I mean? I could not have written what they did with that character. It played out so well.
Yeah.
I will say that my favorite moments in the movie was when they're all obviously jumping out of the plane, and it just goes horrible. And we see Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
And that
he did the role for a cup of coffee, by the way,
and I loved it because it was a slow build up for that. And it was worth that build up. It was worth the patience that we had there, and it paid off. That kind of humor that they really put some real legit thought into. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. And you say he did it for a cup of coffee, Tony?
He did it for a cup of coffee. Brad Pitt was not paid for the role. In fact, it was just kind of one of those passing favors. Brad Pitt was like, yeah, absolutely. And when he pitched it, he was telling them, we're gonna have him be part of X-Force. We're gonna have Brad Pitt be one of the characters. Really, which character is he gonna be? He's gonna be the invisible guy. And they're like, you're gonna have Brad Pitt be invisible? Yes. Yeah, you'll see him as he's dying because we're gonna kill him. But and they're like, what? so yeah, that's kind of how that happened. But
shout out to Peter. Shout out to Peter as well.
Yes, Peter. Yes, one of the greatest characters ever. I think all the human characters, Blind
Sugar
Al,
Bear.
Peter, Dopender, they're just amazing to me. They're just in their humanity. I think that they show humanity very cool in Deadpool too. Just people being people, but also being within the group as well, but just being people.
Yeah. So after listening to all of you guys talk, my opinions of this movie has gone from great to bad to terrible to wonderful. But it's funny,
So
listening to your opinions. So what I was starting off to say was this: it's funny because I come back from both movies doing something. The first Deadpool movie, for whatever reason, I became obsessed with Careless Whisper again. Like, unfortunately, it became like I don't know what it is. It's just something about the end credits when you see how everything turned out and how good of a movie it was. Like that whole like animation with the song going, like literally, it's in my playlist. Like when I'm mowing the lawn or whatever else. Deadpool 2 made me go back to watch Yentl.
I love it.
I'm like I got to watch this thing because I need to understand the reference because I'd never seen Yentl and I will never get those moments back in my life. And so, Papa, can you hear me? So yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't watch Frozen because it's, same song.
I have a 9-year-old. I had already been watching Frozen over and over and over again.
Fun fact: I've never seen Frozen, by the way.
You're doing okay. It's okay.
I don't think you are. I think
you might like it if you see it, but you don't. Yeah.
I watch it because people always look at me when I say I haven't seen it. It's like there's a couple movies now that I would love to watch, but I'm not going to because any time that I say that I don't see it, people just get this look on their face, and I enjoy that.
I respect that.
Well, it's like with like I was watching a live last night from some of my buddies talking about The Acolyte, which we could go in rabbit holes, but we're not gonna do that tonight. We'll probably be talking that on.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh man! But anyway, I made a comment in the thing because they were referencing Andor. I'm like, I still haven't watched Andor, and they're like, "What? Huh?"
Andor's great.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it. And then
I still haven't seen season 3 of
it,
Mandalorian, so I'm like way back. So
you're not missing anything there.
You mean
that's what I hear.
Mandalorian 2.5 or whatever it was?
Yeah, I haven't. That's what everybody keeps telling me though. Everybody's like, "You're not missing anything." I'm like, "That's sad."
Yeah,
it's like, geez.
And Vigilante Vibes is in the comments. Yeah, Frozen's dope. Yeah, I mean it is. And honestly, the music was fun to sing the first 500 times. So it is what it is. But yeah, so I went and watched Yentl. The only thing that the first thing that took me out of Deadpool 2 was what's his name? It is Buck. Fat Gandalf from the first movie.
Oh yeah.
His whole line where he messes it up, and of course it's a fourth wall break where Wade is basically saying like stick to just the one liner.
No more speaking lines for you.
Yeah, like I was okay with that. The peeing himself at the bar, it was like, it's really not that funny. But then it kind of hit the ground running. Colossus taking him to the mansion and trying to give him the spiel. The soap dispensers, him going around in the wheelchair, all that stuff was rather hilarious, and I love that they made him, an X-Men in training, and of course he messed that up, which makes me feel like when it came to the kid, he was definitely concerned because he was willing to get himself in trouble to help a kid that was obviously being abused.
Yeah.
There were lots more references and things within this film that I enjoyed. I love the X-Force, the whole bit. Love that Brad Pitt was used for an invisible guy. Some of that humor was fantastic. And this is another thing, like me being like a comic book fan, an X-Men fan, the fact that they had a reference to Mojo World in the film was by far like that was exciting for me because it made me think that maybe down the road there'd be more. Of course, we know there wasn't. But yeah, I mean, I still enjoyed this film. I think it was a good installment. I kind of agree. Terminator 2 is like my standard when it comes to sequels. Like, I was a kid and probably inappropriate, but I knew every line. I could say every line word for word. At like 9, I think it was. So yeah, that's my standard. I wouldn't say it reached it, but it was really good. I definitely like the little references to the MCU, especially with the promotional stuff, like the marketing beforehand. You had basically Deadpool playing with toys, and one of them was Cable, and he's like, zip it Thanos and stuff like that. I just liked those jokes. That's my overall opinion.
I really did enjoy Brolin
I love Josh
in this
Brolin.
movie.
Yeah.
I thought he made an excellent Cable. I think it
Oh, yeah.
shows the depth of him as a performer to be able to play two antagonists two completely different ways and
Yeah.
it not seem like he's doing the same shtick.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
agree.
like that was enjoyable because I know that was a concern going in because like I mean when you're playing Thanos and you're literally the biggest foe of the biggest movies of all time and people recognize your voice and your mannerisms, like it's easy to think that you're going to fall into that trope, but he didn't. And I thought he played Cable in a very interesting way that lent itself well to the movie, which is why I have faith in Deadpool and Wolverine, because it's going to be kind of like a similar dynamic where you have Deadpool and then a very, very serious character, like with no sense of humor. You know, it's going to be kind of, you know, that same kind of dynamic, and they did it right in Deadpool 2. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be great in Deadpool Wolverine.
Yeah. I like in the first Deadpool, you see that Negasonic is a trainee. And Colossus even says it. He's like, you know, she's a trainee. And then in this one, Deadpool now is a trainee, and Negasonic has her outfit. Like she has her X-Men get up. Like she's past the trainee part. She has her X-Men get up. And it's just funny to like, I like that type of thing in film. I like that type of thing in like, you know, in sequels to see like the progression of a character, and you don't have to physically tell us that there's a progression. You can see it. Like if you're paying attention enough, you can see the progression, because everything doesn't have to be like written out for you and like laid out for you in a way. You should be able to like watch something and be like, oh, look how she was dressed in this one. Look how she's dressed here. It's a totally different, like she's grown up. Like, you know, there's another person in the X Mansion, which means they're expanding even more. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't need to be said, and we can like see it. And I need that crop top that says X-Men trainee on it. Like I need that crop top for like my life. But I just like, I like those things like that. And emotionally as a character, you can see Deadpool kind of change, but also not change, because he changes in ways that he wants to. And I think that's what makes him such a fun and compelling character, is that if he wanted to be like an all-out good guy, he absolutely could be. He could be like, I'm gonna join the X-Men, we're gonna do this. But also he's the one, like he said in the film, that does the hard things that people can't do. Because these people abuse this kid. And y'all are gonna arrest him and leave these people to continue abusing these kids. Right? He's like the stopgap, I guess, or like he's like in the middle of all that. He's like, all right, I'll just kill him, and everybody's happy, right? And and now in real life, no, that's not I don't want that in real life, but in film, I want that 100%. There has to be somebody that's gonna do what others couldn't do, right? And not like a Thanos thing and genocide. Like that ain't what I want you to do. I like just double the resources, my boy. But like for Deadpool, is like these people won't stop doing these things, and these actions is what lead Russell to do what he did in the future. So it's just like, if we could knock that out now, the future could be a better place. Like, you know, and that's the way I see it. Deadpool's for the earth, you know.
Did you guys ever think, did you find like a really interesting like irony, or I guess it's like hypocrisy with the end credit scene? Now it was fun. You had him taking out the Wade Wilson of X-Men Origins. You had him saving Vanessa, but then there's the whole Himmler baby scene, which is very much it's the exact like premise of the film, like stopping something from happening by getting rid of a child. And I was like, wow, they're really going there. Like they don't really care. They're just kind of going for the laugh at that point.
Didn't bother me.
I feel
it didn't bother me at all, but I just I thought the irony was there.
The irony is definitely there.
Was it only in Once Upon a Deadpool where he was actually, it turns out he was hugging him and cradling and loving on baby Himmler? You know, thinking that was what was missing?
I've not seen Once Upon. It was not in the like you see him cock back the gun and he's kind of like fighting with himself about
and I think it's in Once Upon a Deadpool. In the end of it, that's what he's doing. So in other words, it's
Kai, you were gonna say something?
Needed a hug. Yeah, please.
Yeah. I feel like it didn't bother me at all, because, and I said this last week as well. Whenever there's humor like that of any kind, whether it's in a movie or if it's stand-up comedy or whatever it may be, the characters and the actors are in on the joke.
Mm-hmm.
That is the biggest difference. If they weren't in on the joke, if they were punching down or like disassociating themselves from the joke, then it would be offensive. It would be like, okay, hold on, right? But
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds and the whole team that wrote the movie, they were in on the joke. So like it didn't come out of nowhere. It was a very Deadpool type of thing to happen. So
Yeah.
it didn't bother me like really that much at all. Like I didn't think
I
actually forgot about it till you just said it, to be honest.
I feel like it's full circle. Because like the movie starts with Cable being like, I gotta go back and kill this kid because he did some atrocities. And then Deadpool is like, let me go back and kill this kid because he's going to do some atrocities. So like it kind of just came full circle. And it's honestly, I feel like in a way it's kind of like an MCU call too, to when like he was to like War Machine when he's like, let me just go back and kill baby, Thanos type of thing. And he Josh Brolin is Thanos. So I feel like it was like a layered joke in a sense, because I think if people did have the ability to go back to do some things, I wouldn't put it past some people to go back and kill Hitler as a child or as a baby or something like that to stop, but there's no telling what butterfly effect that would happen if they killed him and somebody even worse could step in because like that's what it is.
Correct me if I'm wrong. That's the second type of joke in a Marvel property we had that year, because there was also the oh gosh, why can't I remember Rhodey's name? There we go. Just the whole, why don't we go back and just
he's me. He's you, Tony. He's you now.
You're repeating what La just said?
Yeah, because it dropped out.
Okay.
I'm sitting there going, so that's what it sounds like.
Yeah. That's funny
because
because Wolverine was like, that's what it feels like. So we're on the right track, man. This is good stuff.
Yeah. No, but it's kind of funny. Like I was just trying to think back at like some stuff in the film. Now, first of all, I got to say this is like completely unrelated to the current topic, but huge shout out to Matt Damon in this film. If you guys did not know, Matt Damon did make a cameo.
Sure did.
He was one of the rednecks, which was great.
Wasn't Alan Tudyk? Was it Alan Tudyk the other one? Who was the other one?
I think so.
Yeah,
it was Alan Tudyk. I love Alan Tudyk. I'm like literally kind of obsessed with him in the most quiet of ways. I love Alan Tudyk though. But yeah.
I will say, as flawless as the first opening was for Deadpool with the whole like car accident like kind of going through with the credits, I did like the 007 thing just because it's spoofing off of Bond. But I will say that we got that whole like pizza delivery thing to kind of get an idea of what Wade had been up to up until the cancer diagnosis. I liked Deadpool 2's opening where he's Deadpool just being Deadpool and doing his thing and like
Dolly Parton,
donde está la biblioteca and just kind of like taking people out and in like the whole bathhouse like scene where he's like killing the guys. It was a lot more fun. They were doing a lot more like wonky stuff with him.
Coming out of the casket.
I didn't like the.
It's just funny to me. Just it was very Undertaker just rising out of the casket, just kill. I was just like, all right, this is great. I was like, this is Deadpool. Like like it's like that opening reminded you of who he is. You know what I mean? It was like just in case y'all forgot. He's nuts, and I'm about to show y'all like how nuts he is. Type of thing. So yeah. I wonder if everybody knows that Deadpool is Wade and Wade is Deadpool, because obviously he's still getting hired to do things, or do they still go through St. Margaret's and Weasel is like, here's a contract or something. I'm very curious about that. That's just where my brain goes sometimes.
Oh, so Z said in the comments the redneck cameos made him want to go back and watch Tucker and Dale versus Evil, which if you haven't seen that film,
that's a solid film.
It's worth a watch. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like Deadpool could just walk into that film. I feel like that'll be a great film for Deadpool to just pop up in somewhere. So yeah.
Didn't get enough Blind Al in this film. I feel like we we just didn't. They
agree.
gave us a good amount of her in the first one, with making me want more, but she just kind of didn't in this one. I'm really hoping we get more of her. We obviously have seen her in the trailers.
Yeah.
And of
Love
course
Missy
I think
Elkins.
she's
I don't know if we're going to, and I know that's going to sound disappointing, but I'll the reason that I think that is, it's the same reason why we didn't get much of her in the sequel. They've introduced so many characters, like so many new characters, and they have to spend a good amount of time with each of them in order for it to make sense and all of that. I think that it's going to be very similar in Deadpool and Wolverine, because I don't see
Where she
Blind
would
Owl
fit
being
though. Where she would
critical
fit. Yeah.
to the
Mhm.
the climax of the film.
Mhm.
And if it's anything like what we're expecting, we're going to be getting a lot of characters, in this movie. So I think that it's okay though, because I like her in small doses. I think she's smaller, or I think she's better in small doses. I think that the shtick can get old if she's there too much, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
But also I feel like she's, to like tackle onto that, I think she's like his, like I'm not gonna say emotional center because that's Vanessa, but she's also like a tether for him in a way. So like if there's like exposition and he needs to talk something out, like he has that with Al. So, and also we see in like clips, we see in the trailers that like they don't seem to just be in one place, and it'll be hard for Al to be in all these places like with him. So, but it would be cool if in every place there was a variant of Al, and like just like, so like little spurts of moments, like little moments of Al throughout this could be like different variants of Al. I don't know if you guys, like, I saw a thing, I don't know how true this is, but I think like I read something that said that they asked Elliot Page to come back to play Kitty Pryde in Deadpool and Wolverine, and he said that the only way that he will come back is if they change the gender of Kitty Pryde. And me personally, I wouldn't want you to change the gender of Kitty Pryde, because Kitty Pryde didn't really get enough screen time in my book as a character, or as like a fully fleshed out character. But I don't mind there being a variant, like a Kenny Pryde or something like that, a variant somewhere. I don't want them to change. I don't want them to change the
I
character.
almost feel
I mean, they don't need,
be a little bit,
but I just, But go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of feel like with Elliot Page, though, it would be a little bit disrespectful to ask him to go back to the original role, being the the gender of the role. They would have to be thinking. I can't imagine that they would have turned around and been like, "Hey, we want you to go back and play this female character. Obviously, you're trying to separate yourself from different things." And I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. I just
also the Umbrella Academy for doing that
right.
Which well, they handled that very well, I thought.
No, for sure.
Oh yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah.
I haven't seen
absolutely.
the Umbrella Academy.
I love the Umbrella Academy.
Oh,
I love the Umbrella Academy.
I'm such a bad.
I wasn't sure if I was gonna like that last
you
season.
are, Will. Get it together. Oh my gosh.
But I love that last season.
Oh man,
it was great.
Like
each season of the Umbrella Academy got better as it kept going, and that's very hard for like a serialized show.
How many shows can you say that about?
That it's not a lie. Like
has gotten better.
Like say a show went on for like 10 years, right? And minimum, right? Sometimes the first like 3 to 5 are like really great, and then those last 5 are like, I'm here because I've been here from the beginning, so I'm just going to stick around type of thing. And like there are spurts of great moments throughout, but it's hard to say that like each season got better as it kept going. And like that's a test to like the writers, to the actors, to everybody involved. Shout out to I forget his name, Gerard something from the White Stripes, because he created that show, that comic, he wrote that. So I think that's amazing. So yeah.
No, super talented guy, by the way.
Yeah, he is. Like he's done a lot for comics and in the comic genre and all that kind of stuff too, as well as music. I'm like sometimes I'm just like, how are y'all like this talented? And then I think like I'm pretty talented myself. Nobody sees it. I don't get paid for it, but like pretty talented too. But it's awesome to see like the layers that artists have. You're just not one type of artist. You could be an artist of like many hats, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I would definitely agree.
Let's talk favorite scenes.
like
what was? I think you would too. Favorite scenes of the movie. What was it that really just kind of like caught you as something that you just really enjoyed in Deadpool 2?
I'm just gonna put it out there. Like one of the best parts goes back to the parachuting scene because we've got ACDC pumping out, and you're just like,
Yeah.
oh my god, this is gonna be great. And then the moment they go out, and it just
It's haywire.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like
Yes,
the
my
complete
Chemical
antithesis of what you're hearing. And not to mention the cure for blindness in the floor of Blind Al's apartment, just as it was promised.
I like the truck. I think it was a truck scene with Domino, like that whole action sequence. I really enjoyed all of that. I thought that was really well played, and that was fun to watch. I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, I think that Cable and Deadpool are fighting as she's driving the truck, if I'm not mistaken. And like that whole sequence I just thought was really enjoyable. And if I'm really particular about anything, it's action sequences. For some reason, I don't ask why. I'm very particular of them, and I it takes a lot to impress me for an action sequence nowadays. And this one impressed me.
You know, if it weren't for Tony and this series of the Road to Deadpool and Wolverine, I would not have known just how funny Wade deflecting bullets with his swords was in that movie. I did not know how much of a callback it also
you saw
was.
like X-Men Origins,
Exactly.
And then he's like, then to add on to, like Kyle said, the dialogue is great. And to add on to that, when he's doing that sort of thing, he's like, give your best shot, One Eye Willie. Like those are like moments that, like, if you don't know who Josh Brolin played, like you don't know what that is. But like for people that do know, it's like very, very funny. I don't know. I think like my favorite is the whole movie. But if I had to pull some stuff out, like one of my favorite moments is he's like, I'm going to rip you in half now. He's like, that's such a juggernaut thing to say. Like, and he just like lets himself get ripped in half. Like, that's funny to me. I love like little moments in the background, like when Domino sees Juggernaut and she's like, ooh, and she like skirts out of the scene like a cartoon character. Like, that's funny to me. I like moments like that, but I am very character driven. So a moment that always sticks out of my head is after Vanessa dies and Deadpool hops out of the window. It's just a moment, but he's so angry. But I don't think people realize how strong he is as well. Because I just think they're like, he's quick and he can shoot a gun and he has blades. I don't think they really understand how of a brute strength he actually is, that he runs into the car on the driver's side and the guy comes out the passenger side. Like the force in which he hits the car, he shoots through the other side. And visually, I think when I first saw that, I was like, he's angry. I was like, it's such a good scene to me. And it's such an isolated scene that, like, I don't know. I just really love that scene.
For this rewatch, I literally had to run that back at least 3 times, trying to understand the mechanics of what the heck just happened.
Oh yeah,
I love that scene.
It was one of those things where we've seen him joke, we've seen him be a mercenary, we know that he can fight, we know that he can heal, but we've never seen him go against someone. I mean, Ajax in the first movie, he just doesn't have like pain receptors. He has, he can heal and he doesn't hurt, so he's pretty strong. We didn't really see him go against I can't remember what her name was,
Gina Carano's character, but
yeah. But we only saw him fight somebody that we assumed was of a similar power set to him. The physicality, like he's joking, he's taking on the guys, talking about the butternut, the cheese spreader, and then all of a sudden Vanessa's down, and you see like a completely different person. And that's like just like you said, like jumping out the window, like landing and just getting right back up.
Yeah.
And
he destroyed that car too. He
goes from a slow jog to like a full on like sprint. And you see that, and to see him like grab the guy and hug him, and you're like, what's gonna happen? And him just jump in front of the bus. You're like, Oh,
But
this is a lot deeper than
right than the first one was, and it informs his character a lot because he blames himself for Vanessa's death because he didn't clock it, which is why he turned first into the car and not like turning the guy into the car. Like the guy was gonna die regardless, but he took that hit because he blames himself. And I think, like, again, those are like moments of informing the story, the character, without saying like, hey, he did this thing because he's in pain and he blames himself. Like, if you're watching, if you're paying attention, you can see those like dominoes fall, pun intended.
Well, what's really funny is just like
me.
even mentioning this, what's really interesting, just mentioning this whole scene, it makes me realize something. Wade should have been the one person in this movie that understood what Cable was going through, in the sense that it was because he didn't kill the guy earlier that he ended up taking Vanessa's life. And so he should have, in a sense, understood what Cable was doing, trying to take the kid out, because down the road, it's going to cost him his wife and child. And yet Wade still looked at it as, it's my responsibility to try to do something different. And what did he do? He didn't go back in time and kill the guy back at the warehouse before he got in the safe room. He saves Vanessa at the moment of the,
Right.
The actual incident. And that, I think that speaks a little bit differently of what his mentality is. Even though he should have been of the same mindset as Cable, he wasn't.
Right. Yeah, because I think it's like one of those things where like Cable blamed Russell, even though he slightly blamed himself because he wasn't at home. But like Cable blamed Russell. If Russell didn't do this, if this person didn't do this, which he could have easily just went back like a couple of days, he could have went back like 24 hours or like a day and like set up shop and got his family out of there and then killed Russell because Russell wouldn't have known that he was going to do this. He went back purposely to go back to kill a kid. Whereas I feel like Deadpool is like, this is my fault. I went out and I did all these contract hits and I did these things and I led these people back here where they shouldn't have been led to. And so to go back and change all that, I don't think he needed to do that. He just needed to pick up where he left off. And because he was going to do that contract anyway, I don't think that's what he wanted to change. I think he wanted to just change her death. Simple as that. Even though I think Cable went back too far, but we wouldn't have had a movie if he didn't. You know what I mean? So that's crazy.
Munzie makes a comment, rather have angry Wolverine than angry Deadpool. I'm not sure if I agree with that. X2, go back and watch our X2 conference. Like, he goes berserk in the mansion.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of.
I feel like Deadpool might just like slice my head off, and I'm going smooth. Like, he was killing people quickly. Like, it's. I don't think anybody suffered. There was nobody like, like people died instantly. And I feel like with like Wolverine, such a gentleman, killed me just smoothly. And I feel like
Wolverine took his claws into the foot of the one guy. Like, I was like,
like I feel like Wolverine does some extra stuff that he doesn't need to do, like to get people like, don't stab me to stab me. If you're gonna stab me, make me just die right then and there. I feel like I'm alive too long with Wolverine. Deadpool, the swift death.
Yeah,
I mean that's true, especially like that bathhouse scene. Just. or actually when he was also just
Scoutmaster.
When he was also taking out the bathhouse scene was pretty gruesome, but also when he was originally in the bar in the beginning as well. Those were, I mean, like we were seeing heads getting split.
Slice,
yeah. Whereas Wolverine just seems to do a lot of this on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
But I feel like getting stabbed, I can still probably live from that, as opposed to like cutting my head off. I ain't coming back from that unless I heal or something. I don't know.
Yeah, unless if you think about that last scene where he's fighting before he goes to not be late to seeing Vanessa. The one guy that was on fire just running across the
yes.
Like he does use everything at his disposal. So
I think I would rather have an angry Wolverine, only because like Wolverine won't take a gun and shoot me. So like I think I might still maybe have a chance to maybe outrun him or something. Like
see, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to live. I'm not trying to get shot.
like,
And
because I'm not gonna face him head on, like put him up now, like I'm not gonna like try to fight him, right?
hope not
But,
from the
like,
40s.
if I'm running away,
I'm sorry. What was that again, Kyle? Like, how does that go?
put him
So
up,
like
put him up
20s.
now. I'm gonna knock you to next Tuesday. I'm gonna make you a star, kid.
A Dead Star, sure, yeah. I don't know, but that's what I'm saying though. Like I feel like when Deadpool kills you, like if he shoots you, he kills you. I don't think he like maims you, and I feel like Wolverine maims more. I don't want to be in pain, still trying to like
Yeah.
slide away.
You have to be up close to Wolverine for him to like get at you.
But he's
You know?
quick though.
He
He's
is
fast.
quick. Don't get me wrong.
Fast
he
little
is
bugger.
quick. But like,
Yeah.
he's not going to shoot me. So if I'm like a football field away, he's not going to pull out a sniper rifle and shoot me.
No, but he's gonna hawk you down and still get you. I just feel
Oh
like
yeah, that's fine. At least
I'm
I get extra
tired just
30
thinking of
seconds
running
life.
from him.
I get extra 30 seconds of life. You know?
Extra
Well,
30.
that's like the funny thing when you look at the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer, like they're in a car going at each other, and I'm like, oh no, not at all, not doing it. Okay, so we've gone about an hour. We've done really well not going the whole rabbit hole.
I know
rabbit
I was
trail
trying
this
my
last
best. I
time.
had a lot of stuff to say about other
I
stuff.
know. I appreciate that. But let's just go ahead and final thoughts. Obviously, we know Kai, you're thinking the first is better than the second. Well, we kind of know what everybody's like opinion is of it. Let's just say final thoughts and maybe something you're looking forward to that maybe kind of bleeds in from the second movie into the Deadpool and Wolverine. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll go. So yeah, I like the first one better. That's not to say that the second one wasn't good, because it is a good movie. It really is. I just thought that it fell flat. It was like a little flat in places. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. But with that being said, I think that the characters as a whole I enjoyed. Like there wasn't anybody in the movie that I was like, oh, why are they there? Like I'm done with that scene. Maybe but like I thought it's well done. It is fun in comparison to some of the other movies that we get sometimes. And any superhero movie that doesn't have a beam into the sky, I'm happy with. So so good for you, Deadpool 2. Good for you.
That's funny.
I honestly speaking, I have tried to put very little thought into what may be in this movie, and I've really, based on the past couple of movies, I've really curbed my expectations. All I am looking for is to sit there and have an amazing communal experience with other people in the movie that hopefully are enjoying the movie as much as I am. Maybe like an Avengers Endgame light type experience. That's what I'm really looking for. Yeah. And I don't want it to be trying as hard as the second one did.
Yeah, and of course, just being in the midst of the audience with one of these buggers in your lap,
I need it. Yeah, I want it. I'm gonna get it.
I really don't. You say in your lap, and I'm just concerned now.
Oh, come on! I wasn't going that way, but
you all have your tickets for next week. Like when are you going to see it? Because I'm seeing it Thursday at 3 p.m. I'm seeing the very first showing at my local theater, and I'm super excited.
I can't see it on Thursday. I'm gonna see it literally like midnight the next day. So I'm gonna see it like Friday at midnight, like hours before I go to work.
I'm going on a social media blackout, like when the movie premieres, because I think it premieres that Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. So I'm going on a social media blackout because I don't want to see or hear anything. I want to go in surprise.
I'm so good at not seeing stuff, even though I'm still on social media. I'm like very good at.
I did it for No Way Home. I did it for Endgame. I did it for pretty much any major. I did it for Multiverse of Madness as well, because I just wanted to go in completely, just like, So
I feel you.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have a 10-year-old. What am I saying, 6-year-old? I have a 10-year-old, so we are having to wait until Sunday morning because that is when I will have a babysitter, guaranteed.
Nice.
So it is going to be a long 4 days for me.
It sure will be.
It is going to
sure
be.
will.
I mean, like so much so, I'm wondering if there's any way we can just like sneak off for an early showing on Thursday, but I don't think it's going to happen. So it is what
I'll be seeing it Yeah. So basically Thursday morning, I'm going to be driving to the AMC nearest me to grab the popcorn bucket, but our tickets are at the Regal Cinema near us. So we're going to be going after my wife gets off of work. We'll go over and we have a 640 showing that we're gonna see it. Now I'm gonna just say this Geek Rendering. Yeah, go ahead and just rub it in. Watching it at the Smon Castle. Actually, on the second, they correct themselves. It's on the second, not the third.
Yeah, that is true. If you're
But
willing to
still.
wait 2 weeks and you're in the Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey area, you can buy special tickets in the Smart Castle Cinemas. You can go see Deadpool and Wolverine with my friend Kevin Smith. So, you know, if you want
That's
to
super
cash in on
cool.
that, I could not wait 2 weeks, and I'm on the wrong coast, so that is that.
That'd be cool. I wish I could have did that. It's a lot of stuff I wish I could do. I
Yeah.
need to move.
Yeah.
Nothing happens in Michigan. I gotta get up out of here.
Well, so I want to just give this thing. If you're a content creator and you're watching this live or after, and you are going to see people going to the premiere on Tuesday, I want you to understand something. It has nothing to do with your follower count. I think this is something that kind of needs to be reminded. Most of the time, people who are content creators are being invited, regardless of how many people they have that are following them. It's because they're geographically close.
Yep.
Because that's literally how it happens. Because I can tell you right now, there are going to be people at the premiere that have way less followers than I do, and it's because they're close. And it has nothing to do with being a Disney shill, has nothing to do with being always positive with Marvel.
No.
You can criticize and still be invited to these events. You just really need to be physically close to where it's going.
Yep.
It's on the very rare occasion. Like, listen, my family, we were blessed to go to the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 premiere, but that was because GMA sent us because of my son's like heart condition. So it's not because I was a fantastic content creator or because I was constantly praising, Disney. It was because
you were
of
willing
something
to
that I would have
exploit
rather
your
not had a
child.
reason to go there.
You were
Thanks,
willing
Will.
to exploit your child. That's okay. Hey man, if I could figure out a way to exploit mine, I would too. No, I'm kidding.
I'm about to get
but no,
pregnant. What y'all talking about?
Wow.
You know what I mean?
And honestly
Like-
speaking, I think we're kind of slipping away from the age of content creators probably getting invited to these things. I think we started to see a peak around 2022.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to bet we are going to start to see a decrease because they realize that first of all, this movie's selling itself. So
Facts.
they don't
Well,
need
what's
any
going to
help.
happen is, like, I don't know if you follow Theories by T. Terrell. He didn't go to a premiere. He went to a fan event and they only showed the first 30 minutes of the film. So we're probably going to see more of that down the road where there are these fan events where they have people connect and they'll kind of give them stuff to kind of like, oh, we got these different, promotional items. I could see that being what's the case down the road more, unless you've got a really good, like, agent. And let's face it, how many content creators kind of have agents at this point?
I don't.
No, me neither. I'm right there with you, man. What was your question? You had a question about like what do we like about Deadpool, or like what do you remember the question? I can't remember anymore.
I just got distracted by
It was
when
just
we
final
see it
thought.
because then I got sad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, final thoughts and what we
I don't know. Like I said, I look at these films as a part 1 and a part 2. I don't really look at them as like sequels ish because it gives me like Kill Bill or like Grindhouse films. Like I just feel like they're connected in some type of way. So of course the first one is better than this one, but I still enjoyed the second one because it pushed up the characters. It gave the characters more. It added more to the characters. Like even though Pender we already saw he was a little crazy in the first one, but then he gets even crazier in this one. And so it's a great projection. It's a great, push for his character it makes sense that he'll do something like this because he kidnapped somebody in the first one. So
you remember when I kidnapped him and Deadpool just says her breath, we killed him.
He's like, I love it. But like, I love that. So like, I enjoy that. I think like for me personally, I love seeing Black women in anything. It gives me hope for myself to be in film and to do like awesome things in film. So like Zazie Beetz to me is a highlight in this because her character kind of comes in kind of like midway. She doesn't, and she stays for quite some time towards the end. I hate that we won't see her in this one, but I mean, maybe we will see a variant. You never know, because I feel like it's very hush hush around this film. I feel like the Deadpool films are some of the best of like not like getting like exploited, or like so many things are coming about it. Like it gets very vaulted and people get very quiet, and I love that. For Deadpool and Wolverine, I'm assuming that the device that Cable has come into effect, because it seems like some type of transversal multiversal thing is happening. Like we see that Storm, but maybe that's Storm. Like, like maybe it's Storm, but also I don't think this Wolverine is in our universe. I think he's a different Wolverine, and I'm assuming that machine that Negasonic fixed, it will allow him to like bleed over into these other worlds possibly. But I would say that like that's a thing that I think is going to go from Deadpool 2 to Deadpool and Wolverine, is that machine that is going to allow him to like hop places. So, but that's just me.
Yeah. No, like I'll be honest. The Darpinder thing at the end where he like launches the cab was definitely a highlight, and it was the whole Deadpool like being like so
like I heard
like
you coming,
not himself, and no, like he's like we should leave him, blah blah blah, and all of a sudden Darpinder just like takes him out. And he's like, I was trying to keep a straight face the whole time. I like that kind of stuff.
When the moment Peter is accepted in and Darpinder's just in the background, and
he's like, damn it, and he slams like the drinks and stuff. I hope that we maybe see Juggernaut somewhere, because we see him peek up. He's not dead, so we see him peek up at the end. I don't know. It'd just be nice if like those kind of like through lines get like referenced in some way, even if we don't see him. Hopefully he's referenced somewhere or something like that. Like I think that'll be cool. Or even Russell. Like I feel like if anybody from the second gets referenced somehow, I feel like to me they did their job. Like, and even if they didn't, they still did their job. But I still feel like that'll be a sweet little just addition to it. But yeah.
Okay. Well, with that said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I do want to say this was the end of the road to Deadpool and Wolverine. Next week is the actual movie. But I'm just going to throw this out there. If anybody wants to, I know like Kai, you said you're doing a social media blackout, but I figured, why don't we can possibly do one more next week, just talking. I kind of want to throw some trivia in and see if you guys have been paying attention to the movies. And if anybody wants to jump in, and I'll do like some random questions, stuff like that. I had fun doing that with Will on a Phantoms episode, kind of seeing how much of a Doctor Who fan he was. Yeah, so by all means, so I will be back, and whoever would like to join me Wednesday next week. We're not going to jump too much into the rumors or spoilers of Deadpool and Wolverine, but we're just going to do a recap of all of the films and kind of like just have some fun. We'll even make it shorter. It won't be a full hour, because let's face it, unless we start talking about speculative stuff, it's not gonna take that.
It's gonna get crazy.
Yeah, and then this is what I'm gonna say for anybody who is watching in the chat or whatever. Go ahead, and if you want to, I'm gonna make the placeholder for this next show like as we get off, and so it's going to be on the YouTube channel, so make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. But if you go on your social media and you share the link or the image, because I'll also make the image available, and you tag Nerd Initiative, one person, if you guys want to, because I know some of you wanted to talk about Deadpool 2, if you want to be a part of the show next week, do that. I'll pick one person to join us to do the trivia and everything. Ooh, so
very cool.
If nobody shows up, you can tell we have no media presence whatsoever, and that's okay. But if you want to tag us, you can do it either on TikTok or you can do it on Instagram. I'll be watching for both accounts, and I'll pick one person out of the group. I'll put the names in, and I'll do some type of some random generator to see who it is, and you can join us for the next episode as we do kind of a trivia of all of the Fox properties sans New Mutants. Since we didn't talk about it, I figure we've given you guys the cliff notes at this point. But with that said, let's go ahead and have everybody tell us where you can find each other. Kai, go ahead and you can start.
Yeah, you can find me on my website, thelvibewithkai.com, or on any social media platform at thelvibewithkai, especially if you are an adult with ADHD or if you're an introvert. Come follow. You're going to enjoy it.
And I just got to say, thank you very much for making us aware of like adult ADD. situations as well, because I personally, after having a lot of items that kind of raised questions, I recently, within the last year, was also diagnosed, and I've been able to treat it, and actually I've been a lot more productive and happy in my life.
Welcome to the
awesome.
squad.
Thank you. Sorry, Law, where can we find you?
No, that's no problems. I love you saying that. Because I would love to honestly get tested to see myself, but which I think that is something that's in my future for me to see, because there are some because I've seen your channel before I've even met you. So like I've seen some things, I've seen some other people do some things, and I'm like, wait a second. Like it's made me think, it's made me go like, wait a minute, that sounds like me.
That's the goal.
You know, so I think you're knocking it out of the park. But you can find me on all social media, Black Girl Marvel, or Black Girl Marvel's Multiverse if you're on YouTube. If you want to see me talk about films, if you want to request me to watch something and review it, I can do that as well. I do spoiler and spoiled things. So I'm the person that gives time in between. I always do a spoiler free, and then I also let people know that I'm doing a spoil, so nobody gets spoiled through me. But yeah, I like to have a good time. I'm about to start doing some like weird skits that I just thought of in my head, and hopefully they pan out correctly. But yeah, so stay tuned. Black Girl Marvel. Yeah.
Also, be sure to check out Law on The Real Study on Sunday nights.
I always forget that.
You
My
can
bad,
check them
y'all.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Real Study.
I'm
Thank
making
you.
sure.
Thank you,
I'm
Tony.
making
You're
sure.
amazing. Yes, on Sundays.
Will, where can we find you? Yep.
Everywhere on social media, I am that Will Wilkins,
Come
two
on,
L's in Will. And if you want to check out our podcast as well, you can pretty much find it anywhere by just Googling Netheads or go to netheadsonair.com.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. All right. And with that said, everyone have a wonderful evening. I'll catch you next week as we do kind of like a recap and trivia for the Road to Deadpool and Wolverine. Make sure, if you haven't already, get your tickets, and make sure, I'm just going to throw this up there one last time because we got to make sure we do it. Make sure you enter into the Xbox sweepstakes where you can get your own Deadpool butt controller. So
Listen,
I mean,
that's America's ass right there. That's a true America's ass.
Actually, I think it's Vancouver's.
So. Oh, there you go.
You know what? It is Vancouver's ass. I actually take that back. Yeah, definitely Vancouver's ass.
All right. Well, everyone, have a great evening. Also, I will say this. I don't normally do my plugs in, but be sure to check us out on Friday night, Fandoms episode. Will and I are going to be doing a full-fledged bucket list Fandoms episode where we're going to be talking about some of the wild and wacky popcorn buckets that have come out. And of course, we're going to be talking about the Deadpool and Wolverine popcorn bucket that's coming out on AMC on that show. We'll be talking about some of our favorites, some of the ones that are outrageous,